welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. This is Maximum Apocalypse, and we are going to pick it up where we left off. And that was talking about whether or not this robot here in front of my Gunslinger was actually going to be doing any damage to me. Now, I took a look at the turn reference even in the on the actual card and took a really close look. And what I noticed was we've got this end turn right here and then take damage. Now, this is on the turn reference card. Then I went to the manual and looked at the back of the manual and noticed something very different. I noticed take damage and then end turn. So my assumption is that the rule book, I believe, is the correct turn reference sheet from what I'm understanding. And because of this, the damage would be taken before the end turn is triggered. So basically, if I come here to the open field, you'll see it says end. So in other words, end, based on the rulebook itself, has a definition inside of it, and it says, trigger this effect when you end your turn here. Well, when you end your turn, that's the very last thing you do. So, in other words, damage would have happened before this robot came out, and then I would have pulled this robot into play. Meaning, I don't get hit for 4 damage. Now, the other thing I made a mistake on was I actually, in the last video, only at the very end, I flipped this from a 1 to a 5. So I'm going to bring that back down to a 1. Even if this robot had hit me, I still would have reduced the damage by 1, so it only would have been 3 anyway. But just so you guys know, essentially, the robot comes into play after taking damage, and I'm going to go with that based on the rulebook or the back of the rulebook turn reference card. So if that is incorrect, we can always correct it later, put in a pinned comment, but that's what I'm running with right now. So we're going to start off with the mechanic, because the mechanic was the next character to go, and the mechanic currently has 1 fuel. We need 2 more in total. The mechanic also has... the mechanic is not the one with the spare parts, but we need to find spare parts, and the mechanic happens to be right here. So being that she's in the prison, I don't think she has any reason to leave. I might as well start scavenging to try to find something. That would be a good idea. The other thing I could do too is potentially look at my hand to see if there's anything decent in there. Although, like we already talked about before, right now I have all 4 of my equipment inventory limits used up. So I'm just going to do a quick check here to see if there's anything I can do. I have something for medical supplies for healing 3 health. So I could heal 3 health, and being the mechanic is actually pretty beat up, that might not be a bad idea. So let's use an instant card right away. This is going to restore 3 health, so we're going to take this 5, and we're going to turn it into a 2. So now we're at 13 health. So 13 health here, and actually 13 health here. So we'll just exchange these 2 5s in for a 10, and just like that, our characters are both in the same realm of damage, and that's actually exactly half their total health. So we're doing much better than we were before. That was 1 action, so I'll take a poker chip away. The next thing I'm going to do is I have to... Oh, and I got a little excited there. I didn't spawn monsters, and I also didn't draw a card yet because I'm insane, and I always seem to forget that. So let's go ahead and roll our dice. We got 10. 10 is a safe number. It's 1 away from 9, which would have pulled a whole bunch of monsters at us, but we're fine. And then we're going to draw our card to make sure we have 1 card. And we got an upgrade. We got place on any weapon. That weapon deals 1 additional damage. I'm thinking that that's going to go on the auto turn, so I'm absolutely going to put this upgrade right now on this to increase the damage of the auto turret. So now the auto turret is going to be pumping out 5 damage whenever it makes its attack. That's awesome. And that's going to cost me a 2nd action. Alright, so I got 2 more actions to do. We should do some scavenging. That would make sense. So we can go from any of the scavenge decks, whether it be green, blue, or red. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take from the blue this time. Got a handgun, not bad. Handguns are good, especially seeing as I gave 1 away already. So that's good. That's not a bad find, so I'll put that in my hand for now. We don't need it because our auto turret is much better. And then I guess for my last action, I'll go ahead and scavenge, and I'll pick the red deck instead this time. And I got some ammunition, a fully reload a weapon. That's a really good card. So when my auto turret goes down in ammunition, I can reload it. I also have ammunition in my hand already, but as of this card going into my hand, I'm now at 9 cards, so I'm just 1 card away of being at my limit. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that in future turns. And of course, both those scavenges cost us both the actions that I had left over. So with that over with, we can now decide whether we want to discard cards. We do not. I'm pretty happy with what I have in my hand, to be honest. Maybe the antidote would be the one I'd probably get rid of, if anything. And I don't know if there's anything else that I really want to get rid of to draw another card. Increase all player damage by 1 until the start of your turn. That could be good if we get into a jam. I don't know. There's not too many that I really need to discard right now, so I'm not going to do it. I can't trade because we're not in the same space right now, and I'm not going to be fueling up or doing any objective stuff. So we're going to go ahead and increase her hunger to 4. We'll bring her poker chips back in so that she's ready for the next round, and we're going to go ahead and end our turn, take any damage. We have nobody in front of us. Of course, I didn't really help out the Gunslinger whatsoever in this fight here, but the auto turned is a passive ability that only triggers when I'm dealt damage, so I don't really have anything on me that's going to do anything. Because again, the proximity mine is only going to go off when it comes when a monster is drawn in front of me. So we're gonna have to move over to the Gunslinger and hope the Gunslinger can do all the damage we need to do. So we're gonna start off by rolling our dice. We don't want to forget that, like I already did before. We got a 7. Uh-oh. 7 is going to be the nuclear fallout creeping into the area, so we're seeing more and more of the area around us. When a 7's rolled during the monster phase, reveal a tile on the outer edge. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do this one, seeing it's right beside us. At least we'll know what's here. Ooh, a shelter. Very good. So this shelter is a 2. And it is immune to damage when you end your turn here and started your turn somewhere else. Cool. So that's actually really good. So essentially if we can get there, especially if we have an enemy on us, immune to damage when you end your turn here and start your turn somewhere else. That's awesome. So we can actually move from the open field to the shelter with this robot on us, and we won't take any damage from it because essentially thematically we're running into a shelter to hide. It gives us 1 turn of freedom basically. So that's good. We might have to do that actually depending on how much damage we can put on this robot. So let's get to it. So the Gunslinger has a couple bullets in her gun currently. She's very close to being starving, which is bad. So one thing I have to do to ensure that we don't get into any trouble later on is eat some food. So I'm going to do that. It's going to reduce her hunger by 4, which is a huge reduction. It's back down to 1. Now that I've wasted that action, I'm going to remove one of the blue chips. Next up, we're going to try to do some damage. So if I was to take a red rage action, it would increase all my damage by 2. If I was to then use my gun, that would be 2 damage here. This one says place on a weapon that's fully reloaded does 2 extra damage until ammo is expended. Reloading destroys it. So essentially, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 damage. Oops, sorry. And then down here, my ranger hat, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would cost me 2 actions though to do that 7 hit because I'll be using the rage and the shot. 7 damage would put this guy 4 away from death, and then I need to do 1 more shot and I would have enough damage to kill it. So let's just do it. So we're going to actually spend 1 action to do the red's rage. We're going to get a bonus of +2. We're going to spend another action to actually shoot the Colt pistol at this robot. And this is now going to do 7 damage to the robot as we already counted up. So some solid hits there. We still need 4 damage on it. I've got 1 more action to do. The question becomes, do I want to use my last Colt pistol? Now, just so you guys know, I can reload this gun as many times as I want when I have ammunition. I don't have very much of anything actually on my character currently, whereas the mechanic actually has multiple ammunition reload cards, which would be handy to have if I can get close to her. So I might have to run away. The only downside I'm noticing with the shelter is if I head there, I can't scavenge there either, so it's nice to block damage, but it's useless in terms of finding items, so that's not good. Let's do I want... Now, the only reason I'm pondering this is if I make this last shot, I do 2 damage with the gun. Well, this is increase all damage by 2 until the end of the turn. So regardless, in total I'm doing 6 damage, 7 damage again. It's overkill. I'd kill it. But then I would lose my hollow point bullets because it says once the ammo's been expended off the gun, which it would if I use this, then I lose the hollow point bullets. So I think we have to do it though. I don't think we have a choice per se. So I think we got to do it just to get rid of it. I don't want to deal with it. So let's go ahead and actually take that. One more thing I'm going to do really quick is see if there's anything in my hand that could help me. This revolver here, I'd have to equip it. I don't have enough actions to do all that equipping. I only have 1. So no, I've got to do what I got to do. So let's use our last action here. We're going to spend our last bullet. We're going to shoot. This is going to do 7 damage, which easily takes out the robot. Well done. So with the robot killed, I'm going to keep my Colt pistol in my hand, but my hollow points are now discarded. Sadly, I don't get to keep those. So now I'm going to bring this bulletproof vest down here, reorganize kind of how my character looks, and there we go. So we did it. We used up all of our actions, and for free actions now, we can decide whether we want to discard anything and things like that. The only thing I could think of well, I don't know. This horse seems really cool when I eventually get it equipped, but it takes up 2 inventory spots, which is really, really high. The revolver, I don't know if I really need that. I just need more, I need ammunition, really. Here's the downside of this whole situation. By killing the robot, I'm still stuck in the open field, so I still have to... Oh, this is bad. I'm just realizing right now that if I don't actually... I'm realizing that if I don't actually... Oh, no. Yeah, I'm kind of in trouble because essentially if I'm in the open field and my turn is over, I'm going to have to draw another monster. That's bad. I don't think I can do anything about that. That's the problem here. And I couldn't have moved to go away. Shoot. So I'm gonna have another monster come at me, and that could really be a problem. Yikes. Yep, that could be a serious problem. I have nothing. I don't think I have anything that can help me to get me out of there. So I'm kind of stuck. So my turn is over. I am increasing my hunger. Now the only thing I could do is I could choose not to kill that robot and then choose to move back to the prison. I'd be bringing the robot with me. The robot would then hit me for 3 damage. I'd have to suck that up. So I don't know if it's worth it or not. That's the hard part. So maybe I won't. I'll keep it dead. I'm going to keep it as played. It's dead, but I got to draw a card. So first thing we're going to do is increase our hunger, so our hunger goes up to 2. And I'm not using any free actions with the Gunslinger, and then we're going to take damage, but there's no one here, so that's good. But it's now the end of the turn, so I'm going to have to go ahead now and flip this up. What do I get? A demolition bot, 15 health, 4 damage, and yikes. If this monster attacks for 8 damage, the monster attacks for 8 damage if the player did not move this turn. Oh, geez. So this is now in front of the Gunslinger. That's not good. Okay, so that essentially is the end of the Gunslinger's turn. Not exactly, that didn't really go to plan. Well, I mean, it kind of did. Yeah, we didn't get enough. I wanted to scavenge, but we are in an open field, and I kind of put myself in that situation before. That was stupid. Okay, so we're going to go back to the mechanic. The mechanic needs to roll 2 dice, so let's see what we get. This is our current layout for you guys that are wondering. And we got another 7. We're rolling 7s like crazy, so let's go ahead and reveal another tile. I'm going to reveal this one. So time is ticking. So what's happening essentially here is... we got a 4 here. So what's happening essentially is as these things reveal, the idea in the gameplay is that once all the outer edge ones are revealed, then at that point, when a 7 is rolled, you remove one of the tiles. So essentially there is a timer in the game. You can't just sit forever. But as of right now, we know there's a desert out here on the outskirts as well that we can head to, but I don't think that that's going to be a pleasant place to go. Okay, so we got that done. Now we're going to draw a card for our mechanic. This puts us to our 10 card limit. We got a wrench, short range, deal 2 damage to a target. Okay, so here's where things get interesting. We have to do as much as we can to help out our friend the Gunslinger. We need to, it would be worthwhile to potentially move out of the prison, go to the open field, make some attacks, then come back to the prison and maybe scavenge. I have an auto turret. See, everything I have is defensive with the mechanic. That's my biggest problem. I don't have anything in hand that essentially does anything that I can actually force to do damage, essentially. So that's the bad news. The other thing I could do potentially is just the other thing I could do potentially is just not help the Gunslinger and go about my business trying to scavenge. I'm going to probably scavenge first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to... can I help? Not really. I really can't. my action on my mechanic is retrieve a gear card from my hand, but I don't have any good gear cards. I just have a handgun. I've already got a handgun in my hand. If I swap something out, I lose it, so that's not good. I don't want to lose my proximity mine because that's really powerful. I think I need to leave the Gunslinger to deal with the mess that the Gunslinger has put himself or put herself into. I keep saying himself because I see the back of the card as a he, but I'm actually playing as a she, so I apologize if I keep going back and forth like that. All right, so let's spend an action and scavenge. So I'm in the prison and I'm going to do some scavenging. Let's go for the green deck and see what we get. We got some spare parts. That's awesome. So we got spare parts. That's fantastic. So we want to keep this 100%. The only problem is we have too many cards now, so I'm going to have to get rid of something. I'm probably going to ditch the antidote. It says cure all status effects, and we don't have any status effects yet, so I'm going to turf that. So now we have a spare parts over here, and we have a spare parts over here. So we just need one more. So I'm going to go ahead and do another search in the red. We got fuel. That's awesome. Now here's where things get kind of sad. The auto turret is way more worth it to me than the proximity mine because the auto turret can do 4 damage plus 1 and I can do it a few times, whereas this is a one-time hit. I want to keep the fuel on me, so I'm going to have to suck it up and lose the mine. That's kind of the downside of the fuel card. You must equip it or discard it, and because I can't go over my 4 limit, I have to get rid of this. The only good thing is, as a mechanic, I have the ability to pull or retrieve a gear card from my discard pile at any time, so if I get a chance, I can put it back into play. But that's that. So that was my second action. So we've got 2 fuels now. We need 3 total, and then we need 3 spare parts. So we've got 2 fuel and 2 spare parts. So let's keep searching because I think the quicker we get out of here, the better. I really don't know which stack's going to be best for this. Medical supplies. Okay, restoring 3 health. That's not bad. I do want to keep that. That makes sense to keep. Let's get rid of the wrench because that's another one I can pull back later on. So we'll keep the medical supplies in there. That's another one. And then do we search one more time? Probably. Yeah, let's go one more time. Red. Empty-handed. Immediately discard this card when drawn. Shoot. Alright, well, that didn't work out good. So that's all for her. In terms of trading cards, not going to do it. Not going to fuel up the van right now. I'm increasing my hunger. It is now at 5, which is really high. I have food for next turn, which will drop it by 2, but I really need to find more food or she's going to start getting really hungry. But we should be okay. And that's the end of her turn. She's not taking any damage. And so we can now move back over to the Gunslinger. So the Gunslinger's here. We're going to go ahead and roll our 2 dice. We got a 7 again. We've gotten so many 7s this time. And by kind of the law of averages, we're essentially going to get this quite a bit. But I'm just going to keep revealing tiles around us. So we got the gas station here. So these are going to keep on increasing the amount of numbers that are available. And when those numbers are rolled, the monster tokens are going to start popping up everywhere. That's going to be bad news for us. Chances keep getting higher when these numbers come out that this is going to happen to us. Okay, so Gunslinger needs to do some serious damage here. Here's the bad news. The bad news is that it would actually make logical sense now, being that I have no ammo on the Colt pistol whatsoever, to actually run as fast as possible to the shelter so that I'm not going to spawn another monster and I don't take any damage this turn. That would make sense because the Gunslinger's been foolish and she has run off into the open field and caused herself this grief. So the other thing I can think about is this revolver. I could equip this at some point. It gives me a mid-range action, deal 2 damage to a target. You may spend another ammo to attack an additional target. It gives me 6, so that's not bad. It's worth doing something. So if I equip this, currently I have 1, 2, 3 on me. I can equip this if I wanted to. Probably should, so that I have the ability to do that. So let's actually put the revolver on. So I have a revolver and a Colt pistol. We're going to put 6 ammo here on this particular card. I'm just realizing that I'm going to need more tokens and they're not close by, but I've got 6, just happen to have 6 on here. All right, so 6 ammo is in, and that's going to be 1 action to put that on. We're going to probably move, I think. And we want to move, actually, because it says this monster attacks for 8 damage if the player did not move this turn. Regardless, I'm going to the shelter. I don't want to attack anything. So this guy comes with me. The move action is an action. Now that this demo bot's still here, I'm going to take some shots at it with my revolver, because that's really all I can do. The great thing is at least I have an increase in damage from my hat, which is nice. So this is going to essentially give me a 3 damage to a target. So I'm going to do this twice, basically. So losing 2 bullets to take 2 shots with my revolver, which is 2 actions for a total of 6 damage, which really is not that much on the demo bot. It's it's really not that good. But the good news is I'm not going to get hit because I'm hiding in the shelter like a complete coward. So that's it for me. We're not going to increase my hunger, and that's going to be it for her. And we're going to take damage, but we're not going to because we're in the shelter, thanks to that game effect. I'll show you guys a close-up of that shelter again so you can see it. And that's going to be it for the Gunslinger. So now we're going to roll back over to, and we'll put these chips back here. We're going to roll back over to our mechanic. Our mechanic here is going to roll 2 dice to spawn monsters. We got an 8. That's a different number. We've gotten so many 7s, but still not a single 8 on the board, so that's good. No monsters. We get to draw a card. Oh, that's one thing I totally forgot to do with the Gunslinger. I didn't draw a card, and I would have gotten trigger happy. You may take 2 additional actions this turn. Oh my goodness, that would have been nice. So let's actually play this then, because I would have used this if I hadn't been silly and forgotten. So essentially, I took 2 shots at this bot. So let's say hypothetically that I only would have taken 1. Then I would have used this. So I would have hit him a 2nd time, which I already did, and then technically a 3rd time to use this. So really, I would have had 1 more bullet less, and it'd be an additional 3 damage. So that's not bad. So that's pretty good. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 damage on him. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot about the silly card. Okay, coming over here to the mechanic, we want to make sure we pull our card. So nail bomb. Ooh, that sounds nice. Deal 5 damage to up to 3 enemies in range, or remove all monster tokens from an adjacent map tile. Cool. Now the problem is the demo bot is attached to me. So being that it's attached to the Gunslinger, who is me, I am this far away now. I'm way over here at the shelter, and range is currently, mid-range I should say, is only 1 adjacent spot over. So I can't actually throw a nail bomb to help out my Gunslinger because I've run too far away, but that's a really good card. So I'm going to have to throw something away in order to keep this. I'm probably going to chuck the handgun because, again, I can pull it out of the pile if I need it later. And I'm at my 10 card limit. Alright, so now we get to go ahead with actions for the mechanic. Alright, so we want to make sure we use these actions wisely. So we want to scavenge. We're kind of leaving the Gunslinger to figure things out because she's got herself into enough problems. So we'll go ahead and scavenge. Let's try to find some stuff here. We got some food. Okay. You know what? Before I scavenge, I probably should have ate the food that I had, so I had some space in my inventory. But 1 food's not worth talking about, so I'm gonna let that go. Secondly, because she's at 5, I need to eat something. So I'll eat the food that's in my hand to reduce by 2. So that'll at least keep me from starving. Then I'll scavenge again. We'll go red deck this time. More food. Okay, well we can hold on to that. And then I could do 1 more scavenge. That's not exactly the most exciting. Fuel. Okay, good. So we got 2, 3. Oh no. This is where things get ugly. So if I go ahead and I keep this fuel, I've got to drop this auto turn, but I know that I can get it back. So it says retrieve a gear card from any discard pile and put it in your hand. So I could get this auto turn back, so I have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the fuel. Sorry, the auto turn goes away because I can't currently have it based on my inventory limits, which means the upgrade also sadly disappears. And yes, I could have risked it and just said the heck with it, but I've got to keep that. In terms of discarding stuff or doing anything else, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to increase my hunger to 4. And I'm going to end my turn, take damage, which I don't have to. And we're going to bring our chips back for the next turn, and we're ready to go. I think at this point what we're going to do is we're going to call our quits on this part. We're going to come back in the next episode, start right here with the Gunslinger. So as of right now, you can see the map has started to open up quite a bit. I think we pulled 3 tiles this one. I think shelter, gas station, and desert were the new ones. So this is starting to open up quite a bit, and we don't want this to open up too much. But I am really close. We only need 1 more spare part. The rule states essentially that as an action you may play a spare parts to repair the van. So basically we have to get to the van, then start using actions like crazy to use the spare parts to repair it. And then in terms of the fuel, the fuel is actually considered, fuel up the van or drop off cards at the objective is actually a free action once per turn. So basically I think you're fueling the van up once per turn. You know, one fuel, hoping to do it before you get attacked. So that's kind of what we're going to be gunning to do. So anyway, hope you guys are enjoying this playthrough so far. I'm having a lot of fun. It looks like we might win this one. I think it's looking good. So we'll see. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it. So thanks again for your support. I will see you in the next episode of Maximum Apocalypse. Until next time, everyone, keep on rolling solo.